Seems habitual, but President Obama did it again. In fact, didn't waste time dissing America, beginning with our unique gun and violent culture.
I say this every time we've got one of these mass shootings. This just doesn't happen in other countries.
All right, joining me now, Katie Pavlik, townhall.com editor, and Ebony Williams, Fox News contributor and legal analyst. All right, Ebony, everyone, it dawned on everyone almost as soon as the words came out of his mouth. Mm-hmm. You're standing in a city where people were slaughtered with machine guns just 2 weeks ago. And when you say this doesn't happen in other cities, it just, come on, give me a break.
Right. And here's the thing, Charles. I can actually appreciate the message that the president is trying to make, but he's doing it the wrong way. It's reactionary. That's the problem. We cannot come up with common sense, constitutionally bound gun control or gun regulation when it's reactionary. He's got to sit down at the table on the front end and do this thing the right way, and this is not it.
Well, what do you mean, though? I don't say it. What is the right way? We're every time something happens, every time there's a sort of a disaster in this country, the president falls back on that. It's somehow the embedded fault of America itself. Something is wrong with us.
Because it's vague and it's general. We got to go back to the United States. The controlling case on the issue of guns right now, Charles, is U.S. v. Heller. Go back to Heller. Look at how much range the Constitution gives us to have some common sense regulations around guns, but that did not offend the Second Amendment, and that's where you start. But that's not what we're doing at this point.
I want to bring in Christian White, because I've gotten so tired of these comparisons from America to Europe over the last 7 years. And in other words, everything they do is right, everything we do is wrong, Christian.
Right, and you see that, of course, repeatedly with the calls for gun control, because Europe does have pretty tight gun controls, but so do other countries with a lot of violence. And we've had, a tremendous experiment with gun control in this country, both at the federal level, but in particular at the state level, where cities that are extremely dangerous, like the president's adopted hometown of Chicago, have very strict gun laws against possession, laws against allowing people to carry a weapon to defend themselves, and contrast that with states like Florida and Texas, which had those restrictions and then liberalized them, and it got safer for everyone. So gun control just doesn't work.
It's just so odd that the places where they have strict gun rules, to your point, seem the places where people seem to be sitting ducks. Also, this morning, President Obama discredited American exceptionalism. He sidestepped it. Take a listen.
The thing about human ingenuity, I was going to say American ingenuity, but there are other smart folks around too. Don't want to be too parochial about this.
Oh, come on. Be the ugly American just once, Ebony.
He's just pandering, Charles.
But why? When does he pander to us?
Not too much.
When? I'm just asking when. American exceptionalism.
Sure.
There are a few phrases I guess he'll never say, right? American exceptionalism is radical Islam. Lower taxes.
I don't get the radical Islam thing. I don't get it from him nor Hillary Clinton. You got to call a thing a thing. So I don't get that.
I know, but on this, though, he did say, initially he said American exceptionalism, and then he
Because that's what he meant. That's what we know he meant. And then he evaluated the audience, Charles, and he's like, oh, well, hold on, wait a minute now. I don't want it to offend. And maybe that's part of the president's problem.
But every time,
too concerned with offending.
Yeah, but he's always concerned about offending someone else.
Maybe necessarily wrong people.
His constituents. Hey, let's go out to Katie in D.C. Katie, we talked about two things here already. The president speaking about gun violence being unique to America and no other place in Europe seeing this. The irony of that being in Paris, and of course, in my mind, missing the chance to maybe tout American exceptionalism. He almost did, though.
Right. Actually, he not only didn't, he I guess touted American exceptionalism in the sense that he said American leadership was leading on climate change, but he actually kind of took a swipe at the troops by saying, look, American exceptionalism and leadership in Washington only seems to be when you're sending troops somewhere. Well, troops and American troops have done a lot of good around the world, especially in Paris and France. Let's not forget World War II. And so for him to say that there again just shows that he's out of touch and wasn't really striking the right tone when it came to mixing a whole bunch of issues into his statements about a conference on climate change.
Yeah, I got to tell you, it was an interesting cauldron. All right, guys, thanks a lot. We're going to come back to you. Donald Trump and the GOP establishment, well, they have gone to war while the Democrats have just sort of been on the sidelines cheering. Well, now the leading GOP candidate is setting his sights on Hillary and Obama. We'll discuss it next.